We are privileged, we are privileged to be in the midst of District 75 officers. We have former Division I Director and now District 75 Administration Manager, distinguished Toastmaster Judy Garrett. Former Division Director and now District 75 Public Relations Manager, distinguished Toastmaster Rainier Dunca. Down the line, we have the President of BSA Solutions Incorporated Toastmasters Club. We have Toastmaster Joy Talion, Dynamic Leadership Level 3. VP Education of the same club, we have Toastmaster Junmer Oga, Dynamic Leadership Level 2. And Secretary of the same club, Toastmaster Vincent Salupo, Dynamic Leadership Level 1. Royals, please rise and give applause to our guests for tonight. Thank you so much. Now take your seats. It is my pleasure to introduce our Toastmaster of the evening. I know him as someone who is analytical, someone who's reflective, and also someone who's talkative. When asked who his inspiration is, he says Marcus Aurelius, one of the best, I believe, Roman emperors there is, or there was. This reminds me about a work by Marcus Aurelius called Meditations. This is a philosophical work containing many self-reflections by the Roman emperor. Out of the many themes of Meditations, I selected 3. First is the power of self-reflection. Second, the importance of rational mind and will. And third, the impact of accepting impermanence and change. Now, how do these themes personify our Toastmaster of the evening? He shared that in 2019, he was, this is a privileged information, by the way. In 2019, he was dumped by a girl. But the story is not at stake. After that experience, he focused himself in self-reflection and realized that that experience will not define him. True, in fact, he focused his attention, his energy, and by the power of his will and rational mind, he explored many horizons: chess, poetry, acting, voice, impressions, debate, and I believe many more. By the definition of Galileo Galilei, he is in fact, Leonardo da Vinci, he is, I believe, a Renaissance man. Marcus Aurelius once said that you have power over your mind, not outside events. When we realize this, we will find our strength. Friends, guests, both online and on-site, please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the evening as he brings the light in the dark and usher us to an exciting meeting tonight. Please rise for our Toastmaster of the evening, Queen City Toastmasters Club very own Toastmaster Van Woodrow Perpetua. Give me a moment. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Queen City Toastmasters Club, where our words are English, our actions Filipino. Oh my God, so many very, very wrong. But then again, Sir Wesley has been using a lot of philosophical quotes during his introduction to me, mainly because, yeah, I love philosophy, and also the theme, Light in the Dark.
But if you want to know this team, I just thought about it. I just saw a meme on Facebook about Star Wars and then called What We Do in the Shadows. So it's very random, then they're deciding the meaning of it. So yeah, that's nice. Now, let's move on to the heart soul's connection part of this meeting. Let's wait for the PowerPoint. Or anyways, heart soul's connection. This is a special by the Green City Toastmasters book where everyone participates, and I expect all of our guests to also participate. Now, many has been asking, what is Juan gonna do for heart soul connection? Well, of course, I'm gonna ask you some questions, simple questions, no worries. But first, I'm gonna discuss to you, why does light exist and why does darkness exist? Why do we label such things? Any answers? No? None? If you can look in my map, this is pitch black or reflective, right? So there is light in the dark. But anyways, if we were to understand this in a pragmatic sense, we would be thinking of them as mere concepts. This is dark because it is dark, right? This is light because it is light. But if we were to discuss this on a principled level, it shows the contrast and dynamic of human life. There are good times and there are bad times. There is good and there is evil. You know, these are common themes that we find in life. But then again, you as a human, I am sick. But again, you as a human, you were never born to be evil, right? Can you say that a baby is an evil person just by looking at it? Or perhaps a puppy, a cute puppy on the street. You can't declare it as evil just because such. You can call it evil if it did something malicious. But then again, you don't associate maliciousness with stupidity too. So you can't really declare anything as evil unless the intent was evil itself. That is Kantian ethics. Now, if I were to ask you to close your eyes right now, everyone please close your eyes. Cover it with your hands. Cover it with your hands. Okay, wait for a bit because they're taking a picture. I'll give you 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds to think. What is it that I see in this darkness? What is it that I am thinking? Okay, open your eyes. Now, let's have our first victim for tonight. I claim victim because I was watching what we were doing in Shadows and they are vampires. They victimize people. So I'm gonna claim my first victim, which is the guy documenting this because he didn't close his eyes. Kuya Jeff, stand up. Come on, Kuya. Now, what did you see in the light? Because all they saw was darkness, right? You were opening your eyes. So what did you see and what did you think about their actions?
In the light, I saw innocence.
Why innocence?
Because you will never know what is happening around you if you have your eyes closed. If you are ignorant to your surroundings, so yeah, you are basically innocent of what's happening.
I see. Such a thought that was gained in the allegory of the cave like that. Now moving on to Isabella. Isabella, with your victim, stand up. What did you see in the darkness?
I saw a bit of reflection from the light in this room, and that's all.
Oh, I see. That's already a hint to the word of the night. Now, not Sir Wesley. Sir John. You're probably thinking, I'm gonna be last. I can be chill. Come on, Sir John, stand up. What did you see in the darkness, and what did you think about it?
I was cheating and say I want to see light.
Ooh, I see. You were craving for something good.
Exactly.
Yes. Ate Mary. Yes, my dear victim of a scam. What did you see in the darkness?
Nothing.
Why nothing?
Because I just got here and now my head's just settling situation. So yeah, I saw nothing.
I saw nothing.
Yeah.
Adrenaline. I like it. associated with that red light. Ate Elisa. Ate Elisa, stand out. Now, my question to you is gonna be different. In the darkness, did you feel lonely?
Yeah.
Why? There was nothing. Indeed, you saw nothing, but you felt that there was something outside, right? These other humans here. Now, Zaira. Yes, stand up, Zaira. Did you feel comfort in the darkness?
Yeah.
Why? Just because. Okay, that's a very reasonable answer. Now let's ask Sir Johnworth. What did you think about the darkness?
This confirmation because it's so sleepy. I told those few seconds of being in the dark, it's a opportunity to rest my eyes.
Yeah, Sir Johnworth is an opportunist. Amazing. Now let's move on to Attorney Chappie, Toastmaster Chappie. You didn't know what they did, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. What did you see?
I see.
Yes, what did you see?
know the question.
Yes, that's the question. That's the only question. What did you see? Ah, let's change the question. What did you see in your international travels? Oh, much simpler.
Well, I saw my competitors were bigger than the teams in the league, but we did not see that as a reason to fail in the races. In fact, we got in the 6 days of racing, we placed 6 out of 20 countries. So that's
Amazing. Congratulations, Attorney Chappie and her team. Now let's go to Sir Wesley. Sir Wesley, can you sing about the darkness?
Everything was small.
Hello, darkness, smile.
nice.
That will be the end of it.
Now let's ask Ate Victoria. What did you think about it?
When I closed my eyes, I thought about what I'll be doing tonight, which is a table calling.
I see. Someone who is focused. And I'm already in the red line. I'm gonna ignore that. It's very Nico. You are the closest to a light source here. What did you think about the darkness and how would you contrast it to that red light in your palm?
When I closed my eyes earlier, I saw our program and I suddenly became a pilot.
Are you certain that you closed your eyes or did you look at the sheet? But anyways, at his eye. Yes, at his eye. How was the answers of the previous members? So let's go to our dear guest. I say, oh, ano ba si Ate Kirsten? Ate Kirsten. Ate Kirsten, do you like Sir Rico in black? I just made it simple. So let's move on to the guests. Now you, Mr. Casal. You closed your eyes earlier, right? If I were to ask you to see what object there is in the darkness, what object would it be?
I think it would be the massive wall of darkness. That's my evidence.
Wow. So, that's it. The darkness, very deep. Oh, Sir Vincent, if I'm correct. Sir, what did you think about the darkness?
What I think. So when I was closing my eyes, what I saw is the actual image of
Violence.
what I think about it.
Yes, how about you, Ms. Master? What do you think about his answer?
It was deep and very obscure.
Okay, so for the last Toastmaster guest on site, yes, sir. What did you think about their answers?
Very creative and it can actually think of something very windy given very short time. Let's see. Can I just also share what I felt struggle when I closed my
Yes,
eyes?
yes, feel free.
Like I'm proud to share it because it felt very comfortable for me, and I wasn't expecting this growing up. I was not actually very comfortable with a big audience. It makes you very comfortable sometimes, but for some reasons, this evening, I don't really comfortable.
Very detailed answer. Congratulations now, ma'am, the last guest. We have heard all these perspectives, different ideas about the darkness, but my question to you is, did you hear the darkness call for you? Come here, join the dark side, my dear child. Did you hear that call? Yes, no, why?
Actually, it wasn't calling me because it felt that darkness is actually a feeling of familiarity for me. It's not the first time seeing that, but darkness, if I could describe it, is a reflection of our responses. Some people see it as in comforting, a good one, but some say the peace, that means their heart is also at peace. But maybe if I were to ask other people, they see darkness as something dark, probably they're also in the dark place right now. So
What an amazing answer. Now, everyone, this is a learning moment for all of us. Some of us see darkness as purely evil, something not good at all. To others, it is comfort. They find peace within the darkness. Perhaps the same could be said for the light. There might be men who are afraid of light, and that would be a sad thing to have in society today. They blind their eyes to try to comfort themselves in the dark, hiding away from the atrocities that we see in society. So, from this heart souls connection moment, I hope that you learned something. However, yes, we would like to insert the online people. So, would anybody from the online guests love to answer the question, what is darkness to you? Distinguished Toastmaster Rainier, are you there, sir?
Hello, yes, I'm here. Sorry, I'm just outside.
Hello? What
Uh,
is
Very interesting take on darkness. If one thing that excites me about darkness is that there is a sense of thrill and there's a sense of uncertainty. But in that, I believe that it also gives me a sense of discomfort. But nonetheless, once you get yourself immersed into darkness for quite some time, then you give yourself the opportunity to really adapt to it. And when the light comes in, then you will definitely have another part of adjustment. So I am enjoying the thrill of darkness, whatever happens in darkness. But I'm also fearful at this point.
Thank you for that very wonderful answer, sir. Now let's move on because I'm already very overdone. But everyone, that is the end for the heart soul connection. But I still have a question for you. Did you notice that even if you covered your eyes, you can still see something? Like there is light passing through. So that would be the topic for our word of the night. Please welcome the word of the night, Toastmaster Ana Luella Navarroza.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends. Tonight's tonight's today's word for the night is to be experienced. So I'd like you to do something for me. Kindly close your eyes. Close your eyes. Shut it tight. And then kindly take note what you see while your eyes are closed. Then I'd like you to massage the eyeballs, your eyeballs with your fingers. Massage clockwise now. 1, 2, 3, and then counterclockwise. Another set of 3. 1, 2, 3. Now kindly open your eyes slowly. All right. Now, can anybody tell me what they saw while their eyes were closed? Anyone?
Darkness.
All right. Now, what you have experienced and have seen while your eyes were closed is our word for tonight. And that is phosphine. It is a noun, and it is the luminous sensations of light that you see without any actual light entering your eyes. They are often experienced as flickers, dots, or waves, and can occur when you close your eyes tightly or press your hands against your closed eyelids. Simply put, phosphine is the perception of light without an actual light source. Etymology, it comes from the Greek words phos, which means light, and phinen, which means to show or appear. Now, history of the term phosphine was not used in ancient Greece and medieval and Renaissance periods, but there had been references to the term, to the sensations of light that you experience when you close your eyes or pressed on your eyelids tight during that period. It was only after the 17th century when the word, when phosphine came into use. Now let's have some examples. All right, thank you. Example number 1. In the midst of life's darkest moments, remember that even a single spark of hope can shine like a phosphine, illuminating your path to a brighter tomorrow. Second example, just like how phosphines emerge when we close our eyes to the external world, our inner strength and resilience shine brightest when we close ourselves off from doubts and embrace our potential. Our last example, when faced with challenges, envision your dreams as the guiding phosphines that lead you forward, reminding you that every step, no matter how small, takes you closer to the brilliance you seek. You see how nice it is to use the word phosphine? I hope you guys can now appreciate our word for tonight. Can I have some volunteers to give their own examples using our word for tonight? Any volunteer?
Narrating.
Toastmaster Van, perhaps you may call
Yes.
someone? Okay.
Phosphines. So a small act of kindness is like a phosphine in a river.
Wow, great. Let's have another one.
Another one. Let's have one from the guests.
Hmm.
Come you, Mr. Gasol. Yes, come here. Yes.
Your rumblings and reflections in the night where you are confused are like phosphines in a world that punishes your thoughts.
Wow, that sounds very poetic. Let's have another one to Imban, maybe the last one.
Yes, let's ask.
Okay.
Someone online audience. Surrender. Surrender.
After I spoke with my boss last night, I felt like there is a fast spin of hope there's a false feeling of hope that I'm seeing that my request will be granted very soon.
Good. Yay. Very nice. That's
Okay,
it for me.
all.
TM Van.
Yes, that is all for the word of the night. So you see, there is light in the dark. There is hope even when you close your eyes. Also, conversely, it could also be darkness in light. I think the best fit example for this sentence to be explained is the sentence, I have blind kids. I have blind kids. One could think that he's helping the blind children walk around. But if we were to pronounce it differently, I have blind kids. I think that would take on a different meaning, no? It would help in blinding the children. So yeah, there is light in the dark, there is also darkness in the light, and that is human life itself. Now, yes. Yes, we are going to move forward with the program. Supposedly there was gonna be a break for a snack, but now I'm mad I can't eat. Char. Let's move on to the prepared speeches. I'm waiting for the slide. Prepared speeches. The people here on my left side are praying that there was going to be a break for them to prepare. But sadly, the president declared, he decreed, no. Now, let's move on to the first.
coffee break.
5 minutes. Anybody to second the motion?
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, second, there is gonna be a break. Goodbye.
So we'll have a 5-minute break. So please freshen up. And we're also gonna distribute snacks for everyone. For everyone online, we'll see you on site next time. So for our guests, we have water and coffee in the next room. We just go inside and staff will assist you with the water and coffee.
Ah, yes, the vampires, yes. Now, for the prepared speeches, the first speaker, someone who is akin to a vampire's familiar, who's always called to do a task. Zaira, come here, let's do something. My very, very important victim, always. Not only in this organization, but in others. Now, next slide, please. Now, Zaira will be performing her icebreaker. So, team collaboration level 1, project 1, icebreaker speech with a length of 4 to 6 minutes. The purpose of this project is to introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of the public speech. Public speech. The evaluator there is not corrected. It's not going to be Miss Georgia. It's going to be distinguished Toastmaster Judy who will be evaluating Zaira. Now, please give it up for Zaira Maghanoy for her speech titled. And her speech titled How to Shave. Oh, how cliche.
How cliche. So it is something you say when there is a princess, the damsel in distress, saved by her prince, her knight in shining armor. And then they kill the dragon, the enemy, they kiss, and they say, live a happy ever after. Wow, so cliche. How about you guys? Have you ever experienced such cliches in your life? Or maybe some of you fear of someone who is sliding to your DMs asking, "Have you eaten dinner yet? Do you have any boyfriend?" So common. How unoriginal. How cliche. Well, I have also experienced such cliches in my life. Not the same cliche that you're thinking of, but something more than that. Whenever I lose a math competition, I'll just say, "How a shame." Whenever I fail those tests, I'll say, "How a shame." Every disappointments, failures that I have encountered, I'll just say, "How a shame." It has always been a common part of my life. Let's just say it's a cliche part of my life. It has been a cliche part of my life that I have come to accept. I expect losing. I expect losing that math physical competition. I expect failing those quizzes. I expected that I won't be able to achieve my goals. I expected that I will be a failure. How ironic, because I fear failing. But then I am not the type of person to take the initiative to do the things that I want to do. I am not the type of person who makes an effort or doing the best that I can. Because in my head, if I try and then fail, then wouldn't that mean that I am the failure? That I am the disappointed? Well, here I am, facing my fears. Because this fear hinders me from everything that I wanted to achieve. All my goals and aspirations that I wanted to achieve in life, gone because of that fear. So why do I keep holding on to them? Why do I continue to let them influence my thoughts, my actions, and beliefs? Why do I allow them to be able to control what I wanted to achieve in life? Why do I allow them to hinder what I wanted in life? Because honestly, who cares, right? Who cares if I fail or lose that math baseball competition? Who cares if I fail my business? Who cares if I make mistakes in front of you, stutter, or having a grammatical error? Does it mean that I am not a good speaker? This failing here means that I am a failure and disappointment? I don't think so. Because it is in failure and imperfection that growth is possible. Wow, what a cliche quote. I know that everyone here may have heard that quote. It is in imperfection that growth is possible. Yes, it is easy to understand. It is easy to remember. But for me, it wasn't easy to apply. But here I am, not allowing that fear to hold me back from what I wanted to achieve. Because honestly, I am scared to be here in front. I'm just saved by that break. Snaps. But if I was the same person as I was before, then I wouldn't be here in front of you. If I told my younger self the fact that I am giving a speech right in front of you, then she would laugh at me for being delusional. Because my younger self is a coward. She, my younger self, can no longer carry me forward, can no longer sustain the life that I wanted to achieve. She is scared. She avoids trying, while I strive for success. I strive to achieve everything that I wanted to achieve. Now I seek it. I seek that growth. And all of those failures and disappointments doesn't stop me from reaching my goal. So why fear failure? Isn't it better to try and fail than to live a life with regrets? Now that I am here, standing in front of you, giving this speech, I realize that I can conquer my fears. I can achieve my goals in the face of failures. And with that, I have conquered my first step toward being a Toastmaster. So now I will strive for greatness, for success, for happiness, and not let those fear, failure, and disappointments hold me back from everything that I wanted to achieve in life. I wanted to take control of my own destiny, and it doesn't matter if I fail. The most important thing is that when I got up again, move on, and no matter what life throws at me, I will be resilient and will be able to prevail. Thank you.
That was such an amazing speech. I'm so proud. This girl has been pestering me for days. Come on, help me with my speech. Thank you for being a very good Tyra. Now moving on to the next speaker. Dun, 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 dun. This next speaker was pranked by me. I told her that the session was already starting and that her speech is nearing. So she was very scared and she blacked out during the heart soul connection. Now this speaker is performing her icebreaker speech 2 with 4 to 6 minutes time. So tonight is gonna be a night of newbies, all level 1, mostly icebreakers, except with the exception of one. Now the purpose of this speech again is to introduce yourself to the club and learn the basic structure of what you're speaking. Wait, I forgot. Oh, there were other changes to the program yet again. So I apologize for that sincerely. I'm gonna check it. Yes, sir. So the evaluator for the next speaker would be our guest Toastmaster, Toastmaster Joy Talion, DL3. So please give a round of applause to the next Toastmaster to perform their speech. Mary Rose Brasford to this. For a speech entitled. Next slide, please. Always at the last minute. Such a fitting person.
Well, I believe that you already have an idea on what will be the content of my speech, just basing on a title, procrastination. Yes, that is the right term. I know 100% sure that I'm not the only one who possesses this habit. Well, I'm preparing this speech earlier because procrastination never leaves me. Keith happened. No, you won't make your speech days or weeks earlier. You need to make your speech 5 hours earlier of the program. So while making the speech earlier, a question came up after the word habit. Is procrastination a habit or is it considered as a condition? Well, let me answer the question. According to the article I read, procrastination is not an illness or a condition, but it can be considered as a sign or a symptom of a mental disorder. Are you impressed? Did I look smart in front of you? No? Okay, at least I've tried. So, going back to the main topic, me, because it's my icebreaker. Do you know the person you are listening to? Do you know her? Do you know Mary Rose France ever do this? Because me, I'm still in the process of knowing her actually. I'm 70 to 80%. I still not know Mary Rose France ever do this. But when they told me that for the icebreaker, I have to introduce myself through a speech. I did a lot of thinking for weeks on the perfect representation on myself. But I just can't think of something that could fully explain me. I mean, I know that I know myself, but it's just that I don't know how should I explain myself. Does it through my knowledge on myself or does it through the perception of others? Well, don't get me wrong. I don't base my being on what other people think. It's just that I cannot simply deny this idea that where people who you are with know you better than yourself. So have you heard the phrase know your worth? People came up with that idea because we don't usually know we don't usually know what we are capable of. Which is also a fact because there are times, a lot of times actually, where we immediately turn down an opportunity because we believe we can't do it. In my case, with one of my organizations, TLA, my school organization, I was offered, I think 5 months ago to be its next headmaster, and which I literally straight up declined because I know myself 100% sure that I cannot do it. But when I heard my mother, a friend of mine who's also a very good leader, and also a person, someone that I look up to, pushed me to grab this opportunity. it made me realize, maybe I am capable. That just proves that we can only limit to ourselves and what we only knew about ourselves. We must always open our minds into other factors. We must take a lot of things into consideration. You see, that is why I procrastinate. I always procrastinate. Maybe that there are things I still haven't yet checked the last minute. Maybe there will be a better idea that I could think of the last minute. Maybe I'll regret something I chose the last minute. It has always been the last minute. Academically, extracurricular activities, decision making, anything. I always do it in the last minute. I know, okay, I know, I am completely aware that this trait is very unhealthy. I know its consequences. I have experienced a lot of times at it already. I've tried several alternatives or practices just to get rid of this, but none of them were effective. And this is where I realize, maybe, just maybe I'm just like this. If I'm not this beautiful, my brain is more productive when I am under pressure. I am wired this way. And so far, well, excluding all of those times that I know my procrastination went a little bit too far, this kind of mindset have actually helped me achieve greater things I couldn't imagine before. It taught me how to think things fast because you don't have a choice because you're procrastinating, you're cramming. You don't have a choice. You have to think fast. But disclaimer, no, in any way, I am justifying procrastination. Just like what I've said, it is very unhealthy and makes you unstable. Although I admit that maybe I am just wired this way, I still try to avoid this. Because I believe that our personalities can fit in persons into one objective or room. You can be both spontaneous and deliberate at the same time. I am one, so you can't say it's impossible. We are simply we, and I am simply me. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and friends, what you just witnessed is a quick presentation of me. I use the term presentation and not speech because I am not only pertaining on the content of my speech, but the whole process involved. I don't know if you noticed how disorganized I am. I started with procrastination, then to not knowing how to express myself, then to us not knowing how to define ourselves, and then to really realizing my true self, and then disregarding again that previous statement into saying that we cannot truly define ourselves into one idea. You see, the sole purpose of this speech is to not show you only how I do things at the last minute, but to show you how I am like a tangled yarn ball with tangle of mixed up ideas and flaws. To show you my discrepancies, my unfiltered true self, so that by the time I can already surpass it, you are there to witness it. How I started my success with my flaws. Thank you and good evening.
Very, very impressive speech. If it comforts you, I'd like to inform you that I just made the PPT this morning and the hard skills connection tonight on the spot. Still, procrastination, right? Many of us are procrastinators. I think that's common in the environment today. But yeah, as long as you do your work, it wouldn't really be a problem. But before we continue on to the next speech, let us first acknowledge the guests who just arrived. Let us please acknowledge Mr. Joshua Lahod and Duchess Miss. All right, welcome for them, everyone. Now, Miss Virtudes said that you can't really define yourself in one word, but I'd like to define myself right now as a dictator in front of you. Because I would be dictating what would be happening in this meeting, right? Again, before I continue on with the next speech, I'd like also to pressure the evaluator. Just kidding, just kidding. I should pressure you into using citations because you use citations in your speech. Wow, astounding. Now moving on to the next speaker. Finally, Van, you're moving on. We need to move on. So the next speaker is someone right now who I would say not a vampire but a zombie. This person hasn't slept in the past 24 hours. My God. My gosh. So this person is also presenting their icebreaker speech. So where's the slides? Oh my God, where's the slides? I'm waiting for the slide. That was why I was prolonging my speaking here. So yeah. So the next person will also be presenting their icebreaker speech yet again for 6 minutes, and this is for presentation mastery. Their evaluator wouldn't be Sir Miko and Aryo, but Attorney Chappie for a minute. Now, please welcome Mr. Jansen Toledo for their speech. Entitled, it's very long. Next slide, please. Unraveling the labyrinth, a journey through life's twists and turns. Welcome, Mr. Keynote. Lights, camera, there you go. Van was asking me earlier what I see in darkness. And then I answered, I was cheating. I was cheating and trying to escape and find that light. And when I say light, that's about hope. You all wear black. That's darkness. I wear blue, which signifies sky. And that is light. I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Johnson Toledo. A simple individual whose journey has been shaped by the waves of life. From the tranquil shores of Bohol, bustling streets of Cagayan de Oro City, my roots trace back to the charming island of Bohol, where my early memories weave tapestry of innocent exploration and boundless imagination. My toddler years, I was fortunate to embrace by the island life while living with my grandparents. I can still remember when my grandmother gently say and gets that concern. Do not go near the shore, warning me not to approach the seawater due to lack of the skills in swimming. Up until now, I don't know how to swim. But like any curious child, I found joy in defying her words, pretending to swim and soaking in the beauty of the ocean. Those were carefree days, laid in the foundation of my love of the unknown. My fascination with what lies beyond the horizon. As I transitioned into formative years, I found myself in Cagayan de Oro. A city would become a canvas of colors of my life. My father's unwavering love and support painted my world with warmth and encouragement. He wasn't just a father. He was my mentor, my speech writer, and my biggest critic. With his guidance, I embraced the power of creation, using my voice to inspire and inform.
My mother's presence added melodies of affection and strength to the symphony of our lives. However, the script of life often takes unexpected turns. College begun, but felt dealt as a cruel hand. My father's sudden departure due to brain aneurysm has left us shattered, both emotionally and financially. Our world was once a masterpiece of togetherness. And now, as a canvas splashed with uncertainty. The prospect of continuing my education felt like unstable dreaming. And my mother's words, you better stop schooling. Up until now, it's still echoed in haunting the brain. But in the heart of despair, a glimmer of hope emerged in the shadow. A friend, an angel in disguise, extended a lifeline. She placed a small envelope in my hand containing a promise of 1,000 pesos. Just enroll. Go to school. It was a beacon of light in the midst of darkness. A reminder that the universe sometimes conspires to answer our prayers. Yet the journey was not far from smooth. College life as a student striver was a challenging chapter. Days blurred into nights as I balanced part-time work and sleepless nights and endless determination. The weight of uncertainty never fully lifted. But I clung on a simple mantra: have faith in God's plan. And this was unwavering faith that propelled me forward, reminding me that challenges are not a roadblock, but stepping stones to a stronger self. My story, our stories, are not defined by what we start on a hardship we face. They shaped by our resilience, our faith, and unwavering determination, finding meaning every chapter of the journey. I stand before you today as a testament of power of hope, the strength of community, and the unwavering support of those who believe in us even without ourselves. As I reflect on my journey, I am reminded that life's currents may change, but choice to swim against them or to be carried away lies within us. My friends, let us embrace each challenge as an opportunity to shine, to evolve, and to craft narrative not only defines us, but inspires those around us. Let us remember, the darkest nights are often preceded to the most radiant dawn.
I really love the speeches for tonight. They all sound so philosophical. I enjoy philosophy. It's my hobby, perhaps even my way of living. I read a lot of philosophy, and what I hear from them, I could say that maybe I heard this in a book. But yeah, then again, I recovered a bit my stuff. I'm not really that sick anymore. So let's play. Let's play. The next speaker. Come here. So that side calls for you, my child. Please welcome Presentation Mastery Project 1 Level 1. Miss Elisa Acosta for her speech entitled The Anatomy of Elisa. Oh, the slide is not there. Also, fun fact, I didn't know what that was called. I forgot. So I searched Leonardo da Vinci jumping jacks. There you have a reputation.
Just one line to support.
Oh,
Sure.
wow.
Hello, my name is Eliza, but most of you here already know me by my nickname, Lisa. Despite it being synonymous with one, there's actually more to my name than meets the eye. And I realized that the best way to introduce myself to all of you is to dissect my name. As you can see from the presentation, there are colored circles in different parts of my name because these were my nicknames growing up and they represent the most important stages in my life. So here we go, the anatomy of Eliza. Meet Eli, the yellow circle over there. Eli grew up as an extremely shy kid in a town in Leyte where everyone knows everyone. I was so shy as a kid that when I was supposed to start Kinder 1, I refused to leave my brother's side and he was already in Kinder 2. I didn't budge at all until the teacher gave up and just accepted the fact that I, a 4-year-old kid, would skip Kinder 1 and go straight to Kinder 2. But then, of course, I had to go back to Kinder 2 the next school year, and I graduated in valedictorian because, of course, I took it twice. But actually, that started my love for school and learning. I was active in school. I joined school presentations, contests, the school marching band, you name it. And I was also the top student in our class. Like for an introverted kid, I was thriving. But I was still too young to understand what it meant to have all these achievements because for me, I was just enjoying. But little did I know that while all this was happening, my father started to have high expectations of me. So then came fourth grade when I placed second. We went to Samar for summer vacation and to visit our grandparents. I overheard I overheard my father talking to my lolo about me. He said in Baray, ang buti ni na bata, nagtiti ka ubos na, nagtiti ka hupiya na ada. Or in English, most of you are not right? That means, I don't know about this kid. She's living. She's getting lazier. And there was that tone of disappointment in his voice, and it almost sounded as if he was embarrassed about it. And I was 9 years old back then. But this memory and his words stuck with me ever since. And without realizing it, I had put myself in a box. I thought that this might be how far I could go. And I carried it with me through high school. I still enjoyed school, but in the back of my head, I stopped trying to impress my father, and our relationship has been a roller coaster since then. I was still in this imaginary box, and whenever I had an opportunity, I let it slip away. In high school, I had the potential to be a leader or an officer in school, but during the campaign, I was in front of everybody, and I told my fellow students to not vote for me. And that box that I built around myself just kept growing after every opportunity I let slip. until it became a labyrinth I couldn't get out of. Then came college, and I wanted to meet Sasa, that pink or purple circle there. Sasa was still stuck in this box and started to lay low in college. My mantra was just show up in school and do what the teacher tells you to do. And I did just that. It was good advice to pass college, but it didn't make my college life very memorable. I didn't make the most out of it. And just a side note, do not take this advice. Go enjoy college, make connections, join any organization. But towards the end of college, especially during our internship, I noticed something change in me. I was able to work with different agencies and companies during my internship, and that made me realize I was capable of doing good things. I thought the world out there isn't that bad. I worked with the, the provincial office in Leyte, and I had the opportunity to travel different parts of Leyte. I was able to work with different kinds of people and actually help them. I worked with a photography and film agency, and I was able to produce documentaries about inspiring people. And I was able to work with a local news station and learn to be more confident about myself, especially in front of the camera. And all these meant that I'd be away from home for a few days from time to time. So I've learned how to be independent, how to be more responsible, and I was somehow having little bits of freedom for myself. And I think that's when my relationship with my father started to improve. He saw that I was putting myself out there, doing something good for myself. And since I was away most of the time, maybe it made him miss me a little bit. All I'm saying is that there are a whole lot of opportunities out there, and it's really just up to me if I want to take them. The real world experience inspired me to finally break out of my box. I love it. Now meet Isa, that blue circle over there. Isa moved here to Cebu after college and feels more empowered and independent than ever. That shy kid in Leyte, she's still a bit introverted but takes more chances now. And that boss, it's no longer there. It's a tiny little boss. My relationship with my father, it's so much better. One of the biggest things I've learned from that one fateful day in summer is you have control over how you react to a situation. Either you hold yourself down or you do something about it. Unfortunately, I held myself back for so long, but the good thing is I can still change the course of my life. So here I am right now. No more holding myself back. I've started my Toastmasters journey and I am taking the opportunity to make myself better. I'm lucky enough to have supportive people around me, and I'm so thankful for them. But I'm especially thankful to Eli, to Sasa, to Isa, because if it weren't for them and what they have gone through, I wouldn't have realized the greatness that's within Eli. Thank you.
Yet another impressive speech. I resonate with your speech. To the students here, I advise you to be smart in college. Yes, the brighter you shine, the stronger the shadows of doubt you cast. But these shadows don't matter at all. Leave them in the dust. Now, for our very last speaker, of course, this is the very special speaker because it is related to Ate Isa's speech, which is about organizations and stepping up and doing your thing in college. And this person is my very first victim. The person I dragged to many organizations and tried to raise into a competent leader, which I believe she is already at the moment. Please welcome Jamie Francine Bokel for our presentation mastery project 2. Entitled Snails.
Good evening.
Small room, a red vision, and snails. A dream. Not merely a fleeting illusion, but a recurring experience that has been etched into my mind for several years now. I was in a small room, a room that seemed to transcend the boundaries of reality itself. There was no solid within those walls. I was not alone. I was encircled, almost imprisoned by snails. Not ordinary snails, mind you, but towering creatures 3 times my own height. Their shells in a mesmerizing dance, rotated in slow, deliberate motions. Imagine the sensation, an overwhelming presence, as if the universe conspired to press me down, testing the limits of my own endurance. It was like a feeling of entrapment so vivid that it echoed in my waking hours. Throughout this struggle, a red vision dominated my perception. It was as though a crimson haze enveloped everything. With an urgency born of necessity, I relentlessly attempted to break out or break free from the congestion. Yet, the shells began growing even larger, and the red vision became even more persistent. And I knew I was running out of time. Keep trying. Who dies in a dream? I told myself. Weariness eventually caught up with me, but I chose to seize my struggle. And then something happened. Sudden change. The snails stopped their towering growth, and the shells ceased their rotation. And amidst this transformation, something extraordinary happened again. My red vision cleared. The crimson haze that had been dominating my perception dispersed, revealing a world that had been previously obscured by a singular viewpoint. In this dream, I found myself suspended between the tangible and intangible, the known and the unknown. It was a reminder that life's most profound experiences often evade easy interpretation, dancing on the edges of our own understanding. Upon waking up, it gave me a moment of reflection on how we often find ourselves caught in the whirlwind of existence, striving relentlessly to shape our lives according to predetermined modes. Let me give you an example. I am the first daughter and the middle child. Double kill, right? I know. Middle children are often known to be the forgotten, the neglected, sometimes even the black sheep. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Same. Because unfortunately, I am one of them. And so whenever my family makes a decision for me, every single time I deliver, say yes to anything, I was unconsciously building myself to become someone I don't even know. I thought that it was the only way to success. That's how I please them, make them happy. Finally, during the pandemic, I actively tried to break free from this toxic situation. However, it made even more damage than good. I burnt myself out. I became even more detached. And so I have decided that rather than going against them, perhaps I should start going with them. This dream of mine was a reminder that sometimes the key to unlocking obstacles lies not in forceful escape, but in a change of perspective. In a world that prizes accomplishment and progress, we often fall into the trap of trying to force everything to happen, to make our dreams materialize, to attain success, to become a certain version of ourselves. We are led to believe that the more we strive, the more we exert ourselves, the closer we'll come to our desired outcomes. It's a mindset that urges us to constantly push forward, to keep our eyes on the end goal, and to forge ahead at any cost. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, sometimes instead of becoming, just enjoy being. And remember, you are much bigger than snails. Thank you.
Another amazing speech. Seeing all these people who became members just because I was prompting them to become members, doing their first speeches tonight, my heart is full. Now, for the next part of the program, the favorite of most people in Toastmasters, or perhaps only a few, is the slides, please. Dun, 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 dun. Waiting for the slides once more. Okay. The table topics section. Yay, to be done by Toastmaster Victoria Matos.
Kim Van. Good evening, Toastmasters and friends.
Good evening.
Right now, you're going to have the opportunity to participate in one of the most fun parts of our meeting, the table topics session. My role as the table topics master is to facilitate table topics. This is one of the most exciting and interesting parts of our meeting because members and guests will have the opportunity to practice the art of improvisation and the art or the ability to think on our feet. I'll be introducing a topic and call on speakers who will be given 2 minutes to speak on the subject. The timer will show the green light when you've already reached 1 minute, which is the qualifying time. Once you reach 1 minute and 30 seconds, the timer will show the yellow light. And once you reach 2 minutes, the timer will show the red light, and you will have 30 seconds to close your speech. Tonight, I highly encourage everyone to use the following speech structures: SMG, story, message, gain; prep, point, reason, example, point; and RM, answer, reason, example, message. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's start with the first topic. Can you share a personal experience where a small act of kindness brought light into a difficult situation? Any volunteers? Should I volunteer for you? Okay, so let me call on okay, let me call on so I'll call on TM Zai for our
When can you call a person kind? Is it how they treat a person? Is it just when they help another human being? Or is it a way of life? Toastmasters and friends, I will always be thankful to people who are genuinely kind. Life as it is not easy. If one day we're happy, the next day we're probably not. I haven't shared this to a lot of people, but right now my life is in shambles. Not because I'm getting wrecked because of my own health, medical health, but what happens at home. I do not want to be too specific, but there are challenges in a family where sometimes the children have to take the burden. And I would just like to say, to give, even though they're not here, to take this a chance to say thank you for family members who have been helping my family. To put us on an area in our life that we can move forward onto the next steps. Royals and friends, I know in your life there are not happy moments. And there are times when we seek those little kindness of other people. May it be for monetary kindness. May it be little birthday surprises. May it be just spending time with them. It elevates any difficult situation one is. And I hope every one of us find those little thought of kindness to each and every one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tian Zai, for that wonderful answer. So, yeah, I do believe that we have people who are around us who are genuinely kind, and even shows us small acts of kindness. Let's move on to the second question. How do you personally find motivation or inspiration during challenging times? Can I have a second volunteer?
Jaden Bond.
Yes. So I'll call on from one of our guests. Duchess?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm not a person who's really good at speeches, especially something impromptu, but I'll try my best. So the question is, how do you personally find motivation or inspiration during challenging times? Motivation is defined usually when you want to do something passionately. And that's not something that it's a challenge to have this or continue on to have the motivation or inspiration when you are tested through challenges in life. Personally, finding motivation or inspiration is very difficult, especially when you're in a point where you feel lost or when you're burnt out, when you're just living life, following the flow. But I believe that motivation and inspiration is something you can find either inside yourself or to the things you do when you discover and explore new things. Because how will you know what you want to do or what you want to do if you're not experiencing new things? Staying in your comfort zone is one of the ways to kill motivation and inspiration because you're in the same spot where you're just there, comfortable. And we should, one of the best ways to motivate yourself is to challenge yourself to become a better person, not just from yesterday, but years back that too. Growing every day is a challenge and is a motivation to become a better person because the only way to go through life is to change. Because it is the only constant thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Duchess. Very wonderful message. I agree with what she said. We don't always have the motivation or inspiration to do things, but it's the ability to still do those things even when we are challenged. So let's move on to our third topic. What is a skill or hobby that you've found comfort during stressful periods, and how does it bring light into your life? Any
I'll
volunteers?
volunteer.
Okay.
I will volunteer. I'm the timer, so don't be surprised if you can't see the line. Growing up, as a child, I frequently had asthma attacks. This is why I'm not a sporty person. Wasn't by decision. It was just that there's always this looming fear that if I would enter any sport, the only thing that my mother would come to wouldn't be an award, but would be the hospital. So what is a hobby or skill that I've had that comforted me during stressful periods? It's just breathing in and breathing out. Sometimes this simple act is all we need to feel just a bit better. As someone who's had asthma, let me describe to you what it's like when you're trying to grasp for air, but the air won't enter your body. You're suffocating in air. You're drowning in oxygen because nothing will come in. It feels literally like you're underwater when you're not. And sometimes life is like that, even if you don't have asthma. Sometimes life becomes that darkness. It becomes so heavy. It becomes difficult for us to even see the light. But what I found is that if you just take the moment to breathe in and breathe out, that's when you can open your eyes to the light in the darkness. Back to you, table topics.
Miko. And like what Miko said, I also take time to breathe every day. I believe that it's a very powerful practice that we can do to be balanced mentally, physically, and emotionally. So now that's all for my questions for tonight. I'll give the floor back to our Toastmasters, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Victoria. So that was table topics for our guests. I hope you had a wonderful experience hearing all these people speak in front. But now, enough personal speeches. Let's go to the more analytical ones. A key part in Toastmasters is the evaluation portion. Now, the general evaluator for tonight would be, yes, my mentor, once again. Sir, please stand up, sir. I'm ready for my adjudication. So please welcome Toastmaster Lyndall Michael Enario for the evaluation.
Thank you to our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Van. Let's give him a big round of applause once again. For the benefit of our guests, our non-Toastmaster guests, my role as the general evaluator is to evaluate the parts of the meeting that don't have a designated evaluator. So you can see in your copy of the program, we have some extra copies if you don't have one yet. You can see in your copy of the program that every speech has a speech evaluator.
And the table topic session also has a table topics evaluator. Every other part of the program, which doesn't have a designated evaluator, will be under the prerogative of the general evaluator to give feedback to if they deem it necessary. So let's move to our preliminaries. I don't really like giving too much emphasis on the preliminaries. I just like to emphasize to everyone who participated in the preliminaries to always take note that since we are meeting in a hybrid setup, that there are participants both on-site and online. Then there are also some role takers who are on-site and online, similar to earlier during the Heart Souls connection when we were all sharing a bit of ourselves. I think we kind of left out some of our online participants, especially that some of them are our role takers for this evening. So for everyone in the room, just take note of that. That when you're here in front, especially if you're the Toastmaster of the evening, that remember that it's not only the people who are on site who are important. It's everyone in the meeting together. So let's move on to our word of the night. Let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Anna. So Toastmaster Anna, I know this is your first time delivering the word of the night, and I really loved how thorough you were with delivering the word of the night. So you gave the etymology, you gave the usage of the word, and I think it was also very interesting how you asked us to play along with how you demonstrated the word to us. I actually didn't know that there was a word like what was phosphanes? Phosphanes. I don't know. Pardon my French. So I didn't even know that there was a word like that. That's precisely the use of word of the night, because it's for us to improve our vocabulary. Because for most of us, English is a borrowed language. Most of us speak Filipino first, Tagalog or Bisaya first, and then we learn English later. It's always important for us to incorporate more and more words to improve our vocabulary. So Toastmaster Anna, I think it was a very wonderful presentation. If I would recommend something, I think it would be better to give all of the etymology, all of the suspense before the word itself. So that maybe we can have a guess. Maybe they can try to guess. I don't think anyone would have gotten it. If you would have tried to guess, I don't think anyone would have gotten it. But I would suggest, or in my opinion, I think it would have been easier to digest if we had all of the definition and the etymology prior to revealing the word of the night, so that there's a bit more suspense in our word of the night. All right, so that's it for our preliminaries and our word of the night. Let us move to our prepared speech evaluators. So as the general evaluator, I have people who are going to evaluate with me. And tonight, I am very honored to have some people who aren't even from our division. We have a very, very national level of evaluators in our meeting this evening. So to evaluate Toastmaster Zyra's icebreaker, let's all put our hands together for none other than past Division I director, my other director, Toastmaster Judy Karen. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Toastmaster Miko. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening to Queen City Toastmasters. And good evening to you, Toastmaster Zyra. How are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Now, can you hear me well, Toastmaster Miko? Am I audible or am I edible?
Yeah, loud and clear. I'll ask Zyra to come here. Yeah.
All right.
For the benefit of our evaluator.
Hi, Toastmaster Zyra. Great seeing you tonight. And I'd like to congratulate you for delivering your icebreaker speech. Now, as your evaluator, allow me to share with you my commendations and recommendations for the speech that you delivered this evening, which was titled How Cliche. I love how you engage with your audience in your opening when you ask everyone in the room, whether on site or online. When you mentioned about cliche, then you ask, how about you guys? Did you also experience this kind of cliche? Which also got me thinking, did I also experience this type of cliche? Now, another thing that I love about you when you delivered your speech earlier was that you did not just stay within the lectern, you also stepped out of that particular lectern and you went on to deliver your speech. To me, it is like owning your speech and also getting out of your comfort zone. Now, you were really consistent in your audience engagement, especially when you kept asking questions and you also threw some quotable quotes. And I like how you ask question towards the body of your speech, especially when you mentioned, isn't it better to try and fail than to live a life with regrets? So that to me is really a good way of engaging your audience. So keep doing that, Toastmaster Zaira. So tonight it's all about conquering your fear. You may have mentioned that cliche as it may be, of course, it's part of conquering your fears. Now, as a Toastmaster and as your evaluator, allow me to help you give you some tips and recommendations on how to become a more effective, a better speaker, and to give more impactful speeches. Number one, I noticed earlier when you delivered your speech, you were moving frequently from left to right, then you were going back in and out of the lectern. Now, movement on stage, Toastmaster Zaira, I suggest should be more deliberate and more intentional. Now, how can you do this? Well, what do you think are the particular lines in your speech that you'd like to highlight through the use of gestures or through the use of, your pacing? For example, you want to highlight this part of your speech. For example, conquering speech. Then you open your arms wide like this, and then you walk to your left, and then perhaps in your next line that you'd like to emphasize, you move to your right. Definitely, I suggest that you lessen or minimize your moving. That way, you would able to concentrate on delivering the more impactful lines in your speech. And lastly, for my recommendation is that I seem to have missed your CTA or your call to action. Remember, during the first part of your speech, you asked your audience, how about you guys? Did you also experience this kind of cliche? Why not consider also throwing a question in the last part of your speech? That way you will remain consistent. You opened your speech with a question, then why not also end it with a question? Overall, you did a good speech this evening, Toastmaster Zaira, and kudos to you for conquering your fears. You are on your way to becoming a better and more effective speaker, as Dr. Ralph C. Smedley said that a journey to 1,000 speeches starts with a single speech, and tonight you already started that journey. So Toastmaster Zaira, keep on keeping on, and everyone, fellow Toastmasters and guests, let's all give her a round of applause for Toastmaster Zaira's icebreaker speech. Congratulations. Back to you, our general evaluator, Toastmaster Miko.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Judy, for that beautiful evaluation. To evaluate also her icebreaker, again, we're having an icebreaker night this evening. To evaluate Toastmaster Mary Rose France, the tree-named girl. Let's all put our hands together for our guest evaluator, none other than President Toastmaster Joy Talio. Let's give her a round of applause. All the way.
Good evening, Royals, Queen City Toastmasters Club. There's one funny story that I'd like to share. I just followed your page, and just last week, I got the top fan badge. Yes, I hope you will continue to invite us. All right, so tonight I'm tasked to evaluate Toastmaster Mary Rose Bertudes, right? Hi, Toastmaster Mary. So your speech was entitled "Always the Last Minute." So all of us are guilty with this, right? Procrastination. All right. So, okay. What I really love about your speech is that you had a very strong opening. You were able to capture and engage the audience. Because of your question, procrastination, is it a habit or is it a condition? So it's like, right. That's a good question, no? Is it a habit or is it a condition? So I'm very glad that you answered it by an article. You cited an article, but I would want to know what the title of the article was. It gave us a very objective assessment of, of procrastination as a habit or is it a condition. Also, when it's your icebreaker speech, sometimes it's really hard for us to be aware of our weaknesses probably, or to be how should I say, to embrace your vulnerabilities to the public, or to share those things with the public. It's hard, right? But you're able to pull it off, and I think that's a very brave feat for you today, right? Okay, so for your next speech, all right, I would like to recommend you two things. Okay, first is when in my experience in Toastmasters, I feel like there are two types of speech when you write a speech. Number one is like when you write it like an article. So there's a question or there's a problem that you want to solve, or a question that you want to be answered. And then you cite it with like reason one, and then the example, reason two, and then the example. Or you could write it in like a blog. When you say blog, right, when you read blogs, it's like a story, right? Where the story is presented in chronological order. Like there's the beginning, the middle, and then the end, right? So when I listened to your speech, I felt like it was an article, right? So it's like a double-edged sword, because when you write it like an article, sometimes you would want you would miss those details, and it would, for the audience, it would feel like, so what is she answering with that question, right? So also, probably on your next speech, I would really want to know more about you, because it's an icebreaker speech. Like, what are her interests, or who is she aside from being the procrastinator? But I hope not, because it's not a good habit. So for there is a story that I would like to share to you, because I was reading this book, Courage is Calling, by Ryan Holiday. Before Hercules actually, before Hercules achieved the 12 labors, he was at a crossroad. So there was this beautiful goddess who said like, okay, come here, life is gonna be easy, and there's this second goddess, she was dressed plainly, and she told Hercules, I'm not gonna promise you an easy way. It's gonna be hard. So what are you going to choose? So Hercules said, he doubted for a moment, and he said, I'm gonna do the hard way. So just like in life, if we want to probably succeed or be successful in our little things, academically, personally, professionally, we follow these virtues of justice, wisdom, and courage, and of course, temperance, self-discipline. So that's not just for you, but also for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joy, for that beautiful evaluation as well. To move on to our next speech evaluator, she is not here yet. So, yes. So while we're calling her, I like. Okay. Let's all put our hands together to evaluate Toastmaster Johnson. Distinguished Toastmaster Chappie from media. Let's give her a round of applause.
Well, Toastmasters, friends, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster Johnson, good evening. I hope I won't go over time tonight. There were many colorful moments in your speech tonight, which I am sure the audience would agree with me that your speech was full of powerful phrases. You not only have a talent in putting words together that are beautiful to the ears, but you have a talent in putting words together, key phrases that are impactful. Allow me to use 3 minutes of my time on what I thought about your speech. I noticed that your speech was full of the power of three. Number one, your speech tonight had 3 chapters, which showed to us 3 aspects of yourself. When you were a young boy in Bohol, showed us the 7. When you spent your formative years in Cagayan de Oro City, you showed us more characters. And then when you spent your college years, you showed to us and presented to us the problem, the denouement of your story and the resolution. You also introduced 3 sets of characters, your grandparents, your parents, obviously yourself as well, and the family that helped you to that process. And as you shared your story this evening, you were very consistent in putting either nouns or adjectives and phrases together, also in Greece. For instance, when you describe your dad as your speechwriter, your mentor, and your critic. When you shared to us that your story shaped your resilience, your faith, and your determination. And in the end, when you showed to us, when you told us the power of hope, the strength of community, and unwavering support of family. The 3 chapters, the 3 sets of characters, and your consistent use, grouping together of nouns, adjectives, or phrases into 3, were supported by your powerful, deep, and sexy voice. I could not find another adjective. Complete the 3. The emotions in your delivery when you're happy, sad, and determined, and your use of eye contact when you face the 3 parts of the stage. Now, and this is what I really like about the speech, the use of controlling metaphor. You did not have to use the theme for the evening, which was light and darkness, but you chose to, and you stuck with it throughout the evening. Light and darkness, and the colors in between, and their meanings. For instance, all throughout, when you use the word light, you meant exploration and boundless opportunities. You also meant hope. When you said darkness, you painted to us canvas of uncertainty. And the colors in between, obviously, the blue skies, the red, which showed warmth and encouragement, and the sterling gray, which showed respect. Now, Toastmaster Johnson, there's only one thing that I want you to consider. When people listen to, at least in my experience, when I listen to your speech, it's really nice to the ears. But it's not only that, it's also nice to be read on paper. Now, what I encourage you to do is you pace yourself. When you deliver your speech, when I listen to you deliver your speech, I heard so many beautiful images. I saw beautiful imagery in my head. And what I would have wanted to do was just stay there and see more images. Hear you speak about these images using words. That's the only thing that I wanted to. Toastmaster Johnson. People will either hate you because you are a good storyteller, or love you because you are a good storyteller. I believe the only dark hour in your life will only come when you have exhausted your stories. And I know you will never exhaust your stories. I hope that you will continue to wear rose-colored glasses because that will make you your journey in Toastmaster into a positive, impactful, and influential. Congratulations and please keep on. Back to the early validator.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Chappie. Now, to evaluate our next speaker of the evening, Toastmaster Isa's speech. Let's all put our hands together for her speech evaluator, Toastmaster Jobert Uka. Let's give him a round of applause. Sunod mo sa kong Chappie.
Kung paano ba ani mas
Ha?
kung paano mas bayan ang natuna ko din mo.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Pardon my laughter. It's when we overcome. Love for school and learning, join presentations and contests, expecting to be the top of the class in the class. High expectations from family, enjoy college, learning that we have control over things. Looking at this anatomy of Toastmaster Eliza's is like looking in the mirror. I definitely could relate and can relate. Allow me to borrow this anatomy by using the name of Eliza in my speech tonight. And that we begin with the letter E. E for earnestness, that is perhaps the cornerstone, at least to me, of Toastmaster Isa's speech tonight. As a listener, I felt the sincerity and generosity of her sharing of memories, of milestones, by sharing with us her journey and sharing with us with a smile and taking the time to look at her audience in the eyes. L for likability. I like the creativity Toastmaster Isa infused her speech with tonight with the use of a visual aid to provide us a picture of the phases of her growth as a student, as a daughter, as a person. And why for yearning? Because I yearn for the time when Toastmaster Isa would deliver her other speeches here in Toastmasters and Quid City, because this would be the time when she will get to develop other aspects or facets of her delivery, such as the use of body movement, gestures, the use of props, perhaps, vocal variety, and even igniting inspiration. But if there are things I would hope for Toastmaster Isa to do, there are two of them. And one is an S, and that is to search for more opportunities for growth. In the case of Toastmasters, every opportunity to speak and prepare for a speech, as it is in these moments that true learning truly comes. An evaluator's speech is simply a recapitulation of the lessons you have already gained during practice. And the other one is also a test. And this is to encourage her to sit with her mentor in every speech she delivers so that her speech will be refined the best way possible. I want her to remember that the delivery of speeches will look and appear natural, not because we didn't prepare for the speech, but because we prepared and practiced enough for that speech. But if there is one thing I admire the most about Toastmaster Isa's speech tonight, it is this, and it also begins with an A. This is admiring how organized her speech already is. And this is just speech number one. The simplicity of her sharing from her memories and challenges as a student to her development as a person and her lessons along the way, and connecting all these to her relationship with her father, showed how conscious she is and she was of her listeners, that she does not and did not want them to get lost in or get confused of her narrative. For me, this displayed a sense of certainty and showed she took the time to prepare, no matter how short, for her speech tonight. Toastmaster Isa, listening from you tonight, I have no doubt you will bloom where you are planted here in Cebu for now, because you already have and you already know how to overcome by making sure, just like what you did in college, enjoying the things you already do. And it is really in enjoying, as we all know, that we deliver our utmost. With this mindset and with the help of Toastmasters, I hope, Toastmaster Isa, you can only be better than when you moved to Cebu, such that when you present to us the new anatomy of yourself, the new anatomy of Eliza, we will see nothing but a person that is more empowered, more independent, certainly more wonderfully multifaceted. Congratulations. Thank you, Toastmaster Jobert, for another beautiful and comprehensive evaluation. To close out our speech evaluators for this evening, let's all put our hands together and our attention online to evaluate Toastmaster Jamie's speech presentation earlier. Let's all put our hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Rainier Dunca.
Thank you very much to our general evaluator. Good evening, Queen City. Can you guys hear me? Okay, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Fantastic. All right. Good evening, Queen City Toastmasters Club. It is my pleasure to join you today. I am sorry I am in my car at the moment and about to have dinner. It's just right in time. And along with with our meeting's theme of light and darkness, I'm actually in a very dark situation now because I'm in the car. Toastmaster Jamie, among the most eloquent snails that I've heard, you are the most gorgeous and beautiful. Why? Your speech tonight talked about something that is philosophical, something that is deep, something that is abstract. And I like the way, just like how snails are, bilateral symmetry. You were able to give us something that is both abstract, the first part of your speech, and also a real life application of your speech. So there's a beautiful blend of the bilateral symmetry that you've given us, something that's philosophical and also something that is concrete. Toastmaster Jamie, your second speech project in your presentation mastery path is something that is worthy to be commended because you were able to give us something creative, something that is visually enticing. And that leads me to some growth points that I would like to share with you and challenge you with. The purpose of your speech project is for you to be able to write a speech with a purpose. And I believe that as I analyze your speech tonight, you are attempting to give us a speech to inspire. And what does it mean and what does it take for a speech to be inspirational? The number one and premium spot in making a speech inspirational is through stories. And I believe that you were able to give us that initial part of storytelling. I my challenge to you is to enhance the storytelling bit by giving us the dynamics or using dynamics of speech. What do I mean by the dynamics of delivering a speech? You know, when we deliver speeches, we can use vocal variety. We can use the tone, the depth, even the pitch of our voice. Even gestures could be something that you could employ. Create a vision that we see in the way that you deliver, and that will add color into your delivery. And that will make it more compelling as you deliver the speech. The second challenge that I would like to give you, Toastmaster Jamie, is in the way that you would like to tie your main theme or the central idea about snails into the application. I believe there is an opportunity for you to tie it better towards the end. The story you have given us, I think, could work if there is a stress on the conflict and also the resolution. These are two elements of stories that you might want to highlight. Complete the whole package by giving us what is it that is really conflicting in your story and how did you resolve it. it's always a cause and effect in doing an inspirational speech. So you might want to give us that conflict and how it was resolved, and tie these two together, the philosophical and the reality. So it will blend beautifully towards the end. Toastmaster Jamie, thank you for sharing us an inspiring story tonight. And I hope that in your future stint as a speaker in this club, you will be able to shine not just as slowly as a snail, but speed up and be a beautiful creature that emanates inspiring speeches every time you take on that stage. Congratulations to you, and back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Rainier. Before I move on to our table topics evaluator, who's also going to be with us online, allow me to give a small comment for our Toastmaster of the evening about our heart-soul connection portion. So for our heart-soul connection portion, because it's not a very familiar portion of the meeting, especially to our non-Toastmaster guests and even our Toastmaster guests, this elicits a little bit of more of an explanation about what the heart-soul connection or this portion is about. Since it is something which is unique to our club, it needs to be explained a bit further so that everyone knows the abstract or the reason of being. So we'll get more into that later. But now let's move on to our table topics evaluator, who is with us online. Let's all put our hands together for Toastmaster Des. Let's give her a round of applause. And I'd also like to request for all our table topics participants, when it's your time, please come here to our stage. Once again, let's give Toastmaster Des a round of applause.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends. Am I audible? Yes? Okay, thank you very much. Tonight, I am going to evaluate the Table Topics Master and the Table Topics participants' speeches. So I'm going to start with my evaluation, or the first part of my evaluation for Toastmaster Victoria, the Table Topics Master. First and foremost, I appreciate how Table Topics Master Victoria guided everyone as regards what the segment is. How? By describing that it is an impromptu speech segment, and also by giving the formats that the participants could choose from. You have here the SMG, Prep, and Aaron. If I were a first-time Toastmaster meeting participant, I would have an overview of what the segment is. So I am not going to come in as nervous as I was perhaps if I am not used to public speaking. So I like Toastmaster Victoria's introduction of the segment to everyone. And now let's have the evaluation for the Table Topics participants. The first Table Topics participant is Toastmaster Zai. And she answered the question, can you share a personal experience where a small act of kindness brought light into a difficult situation? Toastmaster Zaira at the outset already showed her commitment to the message that she is going to deliver by presenting that sincerity. And it was not just the presentation of sincerity, but the delivery of that sincerity in the way she used her voice and also in the way she conveyed her message through the pacing, her pacing in her answer and also her facial expressions. Toastmaster Zai opened with a question, how can you call a person kind? With opening the speech with a question, I felt that Toastmaster Zai was able to fulfill the attention step part of the speech by involving the audience already with the question, because asking a question gets the audience to think. And then Toastmaster Zai described her present situation. I thought that her description of her present situation, however general it may be in a sense, was appropriately specific enough for that kind of situation in which she would rather not reveal details. So despite skipping the details, I felt and understood the kind of difficulty that, or the kind of challenge that Toastmaster Zai is in. And then, in order to give just the right amount of specifics, Toastmaster Zai expressed her gratitude to family members who are helping their family now in this moment of challenge. And because Toastmasters Zai said that, the kindness part of this question was fulfilled. And the challenge part, the difficult situation part of the question was fulfilled by when Zai gave the description of her situation and the appreciation, the expression of appreciation for her family members showed what kindness means. And Toastmasters Zai closed with a message. There are times when we see kindness, and she expressed that she wished kindness to be experienced by everyone and also to be given by everyone. So with that, I thought that that short table topics speech of Toastmasters Zai was truly a complete speech. Congratulations, Toastmaster Zai. Now, next, for participant number 2, Toastmaster Duchess. Okay, now, the question that Toastmaster Duchess answered was, how do you personally find motivation and inspiration during challenging times? What do you appreciate the most about Toastmaster Duchess's presentation is that Toastmaster Duchess gave the definition of motivation at the beginning of the story or the speech. So Toastmaster Duchess said that motivation is something, or being motivated shows when one does something passionately. And Toastmaster Duchess also said that there are times when we feel lost, but we still press on anyway. And that is motivation. So it is helpful that at the outset, the point of the speech, which is what motivation is, and grounding the content of her speech, is one that is helpful in delivering a message. Now, if there is something that I would like to suggest to Toastmaster Duchess, it would be on turning a seeming apology into a challenge, because it is recommended that we refrain from apologizing before we deliver our message. The point on I am not really good at impromptu speaking, but I am going to give my best can be presented this way. I challenge myself. That is the way I motivate myself. I feel that impromptu speaking may be challenging for me, but this acceptance of the challenge is one that shows my motivation to improve, something like that. Okay, so it may not necessarily be like that, but if you feel like apologizing because it would give you a little bit more, let's say, stability or a feeling of comfort in delivering a piece, you can turn that, because, well, it's also something to express our vulnerability. It can help, and the audience may appreciate that. Now, how do you express that weakness or vulnerability? So you can word the statement in order to convey positive emphasis. But all in all, for Toastmaster Duchess's speech, I appreciated that Toastmaster Duchess was committed to being attentive to the very point that a speech is begun with and the speech is closed with. When Toastmaster Duchess presented statements at the end, which said, or which bore a what do you call this, which presented a testimony that it is important that we challenge ourselves when we can, or that we choose to challenge ourselves. It's important that we choose to challenge ourselves because that is the motivation and the inspiration. So she was able to respond to that part of the question. So we are able to bring ourselves, to gift ourselves in motivation and inspiration when we allow ourselves to take on challenges. Congratulations, Toastmaster Duchess. Next, for Toastmaster Miko, our third table topics participant. Toastmaster Miko answered the question, what is a skill or hobby that you find comfort in during stressful periods? And how do you bring light in, how does it bring light to your life? Toastmaster Miko ended with a background giving. And I felt that giving a background is one thing that is going to give context to your speech. It is important that when we read, we know the context to the text. And Toastmaster Miko assisted us by describing his health challenges when he was a child. Toastmaster Miko said that he often had asthma as a kid. And because of that, he transitioned to the reason for not being involved in sports and saying that his hobby is, or skill is, breathing in and breathing out. Now, it is a good point to give, especially that there is there have been studies in which there are that say that there are people who do not anymore know how to breathe properly. So that's why meditation is taught. That is why we have classes like yoga classes and well, the like, because it is important to know how to breathe. And Toastmaster Miko then went on to explain the importance of breathing. So I felt that the point could be made even more concrete and strong if the skill part of correct breathing were explained. How do we breathe correctly? What is the way in which breathing in and breathing out would make us, let's say, feel more at ease, or how can that give light to ourselves? Okay. Now, another one is, I do understand that Toastmaster Miko talked about feeling suffocated and being in a moment of darkness if it's difficult to breathe. That is in response to the darkness, the word light or darkness in the speech or in the question. Okay, there. So it is okay to have that juxtaposition, and it's going to be better to such juxtaposition could be brought to the next level if the words that would be used would also be in line with, for example, feeling darkness. Because not being able to breathe or suffocating, I kind of got confused to suffocating in oxygen when it's difficult to take in oxygen. All right, so there. Use words that are in the same semantic field as darkness, and because breathing is not necessarily the same semantic field as feeling or seeing darkness. But all in all, Toastmaster Miko, what I appreciate the most about your speech is that you are very consistent with elevating meanings. So breathing in, breathing out is not just something mechanical. You're able to bring it to the next level by talking about its significance, by even bringing in the philosophy behind the importance of breathing in and breathing out. And also you gave a good closing point in which you said that we need to take the moment to breathe in, and because breathe out, because that's the way to see the light. Okay, now, so thank you and congratulations, Toastmaster Miko. Okay, now let's move on to the evaluation of the continuation of the evaluation of Table Topics Master. I appreciate the questions that Toastmaster Victoria gave because they are questions that really connect to our experiences of light and darkness. If there is something that I would like to add, it would be on some suggestions on how the table topics questions can be made, let's say, more surprising. Okay, or I mean, putting novelty into the segment. So how is that? So you might consider a game between like this or that, the this or that game. Let's say something good in darkness and something good in light, and which are we going to pick? So you're going to you think about what is a situation which darkness is good and a situation which brightness is good, or something like that. So weighing things, that's one. And then another one also is a fill in the blanks type of, let's say, question or quote giving, and then there could be movement involved, let's say fishing for a word on the floor, something like that, for the challenge, right? To be, let's say, to add novelty to the segment. But the choice of questions and the way you handle the table topics segment was one that showed that you are committed to the meaning or the significance of colors and light and darkness. And with that, and with having transitions, you gave transitions in between. Okay, just shorten or make the transitions shorter or put them in a capsule, and then keep on being attentive to the meaning of or the significance of the theme. And like how you handle the table topic segment tonight, you are going to continue to be a good interviewer, or let's say facilitate, let's say trigger giver, trigger in the sense that we there are things that we respond to which are going to make us more attentive to what we believe in, and and what our skill is. Congratulations, Toastmaster Victoria, and congratulations, table topics participants. To our general evaluator, Miko.
Thank you, Toastmaster Des. So that was, for all of our table topics participants. Now we're moving on to our evaluators who are evaluating everyone in the meeting all together. Our lieutenants are observing different aspects of speaking as a whole. So let's start off with our grammar this evening. Let's all put our hands together for Toastmaster Wesley.
Good evening, everyone, friends, fellow Toastmasters, royals. The role of the grammarian can be likened to a detective. In a dark room where a crime scene has transpired, a detective will look closely at pieces of evidence. Tonight, our theme, Light in the Dark, is a unique experience for the grammarian. There were a lot of germs that I've noted, but there were also glimmers of light. Let me share first the germs of tonight. I noticed that there were mispronunciations on particular words. First, the word emerge. I heard someone use the word emerge in the past tense, and I would appreciate if we could all say, instead of emerge, we could all say emerged. It takes a little bit of effort, but we'll get there. Also, I heard someone said double-edged sword. I could appreciate if we say double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword.
There we go. I also heard someone pronounce the word as in evaluate and evaluator. I think the better way to pronounce the word or the words is evaluate and evaluator. There's a distinct way of pronouncing the letter T in English. If it's found between two vowels, The T sound is no longer but let me give you an example. Someone said opportunity. That's a waste of saliva and articulators. Rather say opportunity. I heard someone said duty. I think the better way to pronounce this is duty. Also, the words responsibility, water, and rider. There we go. I also noted and observed that we're so fond of using the word so. Friends, fellow Toastmasters, we use so as an effective transition device if we mean causality, meaning to say, or for example, if A happened, so B will take place after. During tonight's meeting, I noticed that we're using so as a transition for time. Event A happened, so event B happened, which is a big no-no in English. Okay. Also, let's take a look at verb tenses. The past tense of begin is began. Now, what's the past participle of begin? And it takes the verb has, have, or had. So if we mean to say the past participle, which is begun, don't forget it has a friend. Has, have, or had. There we go. I know those observations seem dark, but let me bring you to the light. The gems for tonight's meeting. Toastmasters, Zaira said, and this is a beautiful reminder for us, friends and fellow Toastmasters, that when we are younger, we used to feel very coward. Fear makes us succumb to its power. But she brought us back to life when she said, why fear failure? I can conquer my fears. And that is a true gem for tonight. In addition, Toastmaster France also said our limitation is only up to the level of how much we know ourselves. Isn't that a good reminder? Toastmaster John, a good storyteller and good vocal modulator that he is, said our stories are defined by our resilience and faith. He also added that the darkest nights are preceded by the most radiant dawn. I love that how he put it. Toastmaster Isa, you have, she said, you have control over your emotions and how you handle the situation. And tonight you showed us how to handle a situation being a first-time public speaker or first-time delivering an icebreaker. Kudos to you. And Toastmaster Jamie, you said, and this is a good reminder, especially for us adults who love hard work and working and wearing hard work and working as a badge of honor. Friends, fellow Toastmasters, that's not always the case. Toastmaster Jamie reminded us, instead of becoming successful, becoming number one, becoming the top employee of the month, just enjoy being. For our word of the night, and in a way to close the grammarian's report, sad to say no one was able to use our word of the night, save Toastmaster Isabella and our guest, future Toastmaster, I'm manifesting, guest, Louis Gasal. All right, there you go. And also I'd like to add, Toastmaster Jansen used the word lifeline. Not just simply using the word support, but use lifeline. So I commend you for that. Toastmaster Therese Piramide, instead of just saying conclusion or end of the story, she used the word denouement. Finally, Toastmaster Desiree Balota, instead of using compare and contrast, she said juxtaposition. There you go, friends and fellow Toastmasters. Back to our general.
But the happy is your bird happy.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wesley. Now to move on to our next role taker who took note of whether we were using crutches while we're speaking. Someone who can overall help us see the flaws in our speech. Let's all put our hands together for our counter this evening. My better half, Toastmaster Kirsten Manguba.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends. So my purpose as the counter is to know of the words and the sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by everyone who speaks. So I take note with the well, so, like, but, and other repeated words and other filler words. So for Toastmaster Anne, she has four total and repeated other filler words. Surrendon is one Zaira, two repeated and other fillers. Mary has a little na. Three one and four repeated and other filler words. Victoria, two one repeated word. Duchess, one and two repeated words. Miko, one one so. Joy is six and five repeated words and other filler words. Rainier is two so. There's two four two so, and three repeated and other filler words. So that's it for my report. Back to you, General.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kirsten. And to bring you to our timers report this evening, let me introduce you to myself. Also functioning as your timer for this evening, I am not pleased to report, but I think our treasurer will be the one who is happy that only two role takers this evening are on time. Only two role takers, so that's evaluators, those are speakers, only two of them are on time. Let's all give a round of applause to Toastmaster Zaira and to Toastmaster Jamie for being on time. So we will forgive our preliminaries for this time because I didn't know I was a timer yet. Starting with our heart souls connection, it took 30 minutes and 21 seconds. So Toastmaster Van will pay for that. Toastmaster Anna took 6 minutes instead of 5 on overtime of 30 seconds. Our break for 5 to 10 minutes is on time, but it's not a roll. So we took 6 minutes and 14 seconds, appropriate time. Toastmaster Zaira spoke for 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Toastmaster Mary Rose Franz Bermudez spoke for 7 minutes and 26 seconds on time for a regular speech. Toastmaster Johnson spoke even overtime, also for a regular speech, spoke for 7 minutes and 53 seconds. Toastmaster Isa this evening spoke for 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Nagtupad man sila, so nagtupad sa nilang time. Alright. Toastmaster Jamie spoke exactly for 6 minutes and 10 seconds, just on time for her regular speech project. Our table topics portion is where we actually save time. It's the opposite for this meeting. We only took 11 minutes for the entirety, so we could have made space for maybe just one more speaker. All of our table topics participants are on time. All right. So Toastmaster Zeiss, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Soon to be Toastmaster Duchess, 1 minute and 58. not red, perfect. And my time is 1 minute and 45. Wow. Yes. 4-hour evaluators for this evening. No one spoke for less than 4 minutes. No one spoke for less than 4 minutes. Starting with Distinguished Toastmaster Judy, evaluated for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Our guest Toastmaster Joy, evaluated for 4 minutes and 9 seconds. Distinguished Toastmaster Chappie, evaluated for 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Toastmaster Joe Birth, next to Toastmaster Chappie again, evaluated for 4 minutes and 36 seconds. Distinguished Toastmaster Rainer, evaluated for 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And our table topics evaluation took 15 minutes and 11 seconds, 5 minutes over time. Moving on to our grammarian's report, Toastmaster Wesley, it didn't feel like this time, but he took 5 minutes and 55 seconds, 555, Carnino. So Toastmaster Kirsten is a bit under time, 1 minute and 55 seconds. And right now I'm over time by 10 seconds, 3 minutes and 44. So I'd like to pass back to myself for our, back to our general evaluator, which is me. It just so happens. Wow. Tonight, as the general evaluator, putting on a different hat, I'm now going to evaluate our Toastmaster of the evening. And I believe I was still the one to evaluate you. Last time you were Toastmaster of the evening. So Toastmaster Van is my mentor, and I think our energy is a bit, it is my mentee. My apologies. And I think we get along pretty well. But I'd also like to help you, Toastmaster Van, hosting here in front. I think you mentioned at the start that you are also sick for tonight. If you're feeling a bit under the weather, and I'd like to appreciate you still showing up and still performing very well. You know, being our Toastmaster of the evening despite not feeling 100%. There are a couple of things, but first of all, it was very clear that the meeting, together with our execoms, organized very well, despite the fact that we have a lot of speakers this evening. And I think we are, maybe except for the evaluators, we're actually closing the gap on getting it really right into only an hour and 30, even when we still have 6 speakers in our meeting. So I'd like to give a kudos to both our Toastmaster of the evening and our Vice President Education for that. Let's give Toastmaster Wesley and Toastmaster Van. There are only 2 suggestions I would give for you this evening, Toastmaster Van. First would be when we're introducing a speaker, especially when it comes to the icebreaker speech, we really need to give honor to our speaker as well. For a lot of us, not everyone's a debater, not everyone was an impromptu speaker when they were in high school. For a lot of people, this is their first time speaking in public. So we need to honor them in that way as well. So I noticed that there were moments that maybe we didn't shake the hands of our speaker, or maybe the flow of our introduction was a bit caught because we were waiting for the slides to show. I would recommend that you, as the Toastmaster of the evening, would also know, even outside of the PowerPoint, what the objective is and what the speech title is. So that if lo and behold, everything else is gone, maybe the power blacks out, we still know where we are. And the way we can introduce them, this is Toastmaster Zaira and her speech. And then you just give the floor to them and then shake their hand. Because it's always about giving honor to that person who's doing something hard. Because we're all here doing something hard. And that's what makes it beautiful. The second suggestion, Toastmaster Van. Sometimes we do need, don't get me wrong, sometimes we do need the PowerPoint. I think we can be a bit more subtle to ask for it. So instead of saying something directly like, while we're waiting for the PowerPoint to move on to our next part of the program, instead, we could maybe gently tap our tech master. Like as we move on to our table topics, which you'll see in our screen in a bit, So this way, it's more respectful, not only to the audience as a whole, and you're not also putting the tech master on the spot, because the tech master also has other things to attend to, the Zoom guests, spotlighting. So that we're all maybe respectful to one another. We can tap each other lightly instead of saying, "Huy, Zoom master, where are the slides?" So overall, Toastmaster Van, I think you have a really good command of the stage.
Yes.
And I think that it's very easy to see that you're not only comfortable here, but you're also comfortable asking people to speak. Continue to share your word, share your energy with everyone, but let's also learn to be a bit more forgiving to other people in different roles. So I'll pass back to Toastmaster Van to close out the night. Let's give him a round of applause. Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to ask once again, Toastmaster, because you have to stay in front, the president of Queen City Toastmasters, as well as the vice president for education, Toastmaster Wesley Marcoma, for the awarding of sorts that I don't know.
Wow, it's that.
All right. This is the first time we're doing this as well. We're having an awarding for
Best prepared.
so best prepared speaker and best table topic speaker and best evaluator. But our best evaluator, we don't have a ribbon. Actually, the other one, we also don't have a ribbon. We have a fridge magnet. Courtesy of Toastmasters International. All right, perfect. So, yes, all right. So in a bit, I will call on our table topics evaluator to announce our best table topic speaker. But I'd like to have the courtesy to award our best prepared speaker. Our best prepared speaker for this evening, they were all beautiful speeches. Let's put our hands together for Toastmaster Jansen Toledo. Congratulations.
Wow.
You have a fridge magnet now.
My boss wants to see it.
Congratulations to Toastmaster Jansen. Our one there. The other ref magnet is in my bag. I'll get it later. Our best evaluator for this evening. With her comeback to face-to-face meeting, let's all put our hands together for distinguished Toastmaster Chappie. Partner in Naglo pa dyan
Okay, tingnan ko yung evaluate first.
For the boss. For the boss. All right, Toastmaster Des, are you ready? Can we spotlight Miss Des, please? Toastmaster Des, we'd like you to announce our best table topic
Yes,
speaker
for the
Go ahead, Miss Des.
okay. So for the best table topic speaker, it is Toastmaster Zai.
Toastmaster Zai. So that concludes our first. That concludes our first awarding. It's the first time we found those ribbons. Again, after years of searching. But for our fellow Toastmaster friends, we can purchase these ribbons online, so that we also have something great to give to our table topics participants and our speakers, especially since a guest can still also be our best table topics. All right, now I will pass back to Toastmaster Van to close out the night.
All right, thank you for that. Wow, awarding. I applaud the effort of Queen City Toastmasters to recognize the effort of those who come to the meetings. So if you want to get an award, please continue to come for our meetings. Now, for the next part of the program, I believe it would be the guest feedback. So we only have 3 guests for tonight that are non-Toastmasters, and we will be asking each and every one of them for their opinions on how the meeting went through. So let's start by order of arrival. Of course, the first one to arrive would be the last one to speak because he is the best. Now let's first ask Mr. Joshua Namon, since he is the only one asking something.
So good evening, everyone. So more or less, just very briefly, very quickly, I really enjoyed the meeting. I arrived late. I wasn't able to meet and watch the preliminaries. But from what I was able to gather, what I was able to see, it was really great. It proceeded very smoothly as well. I really do appreciate the fact that there were different kinds of evaluations given as well. I think that's very helpful to all of the speakers. Also, the 3-pronged evaluation towards the end for the grammar, for the time, and everything else. Very, very helpful. I believe it's very helpful, at least for me, right, as a spectator, to be able to know these different points of improvement for everyone, for every speaker. And I guess just overall, it was a very smooth meeting. I really enjoyed it. It's really fun, and it's really great. So congratulations, everyone, for your meeting today. Thank you.
Now moving on to the next speaker, Ms. Duchess, who's coming on stage.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It was a very it's my first time like participating in something like this, and it's a new experience, and it was very like something you can learn from. And I didn't expect. I did hear from a friend that there's a possibility that a guest would participate, and I didn't expect that I'd be one of those people. And it was a very fun experience. It's a nice way to engage with people na not from Toastmasters. It was a very like it's a nice way to let people know that you also welcome those who participate in the event, and it's a really like enriching experience. It's very nice, and I can see that it was very planned out and that people here are really passionate. Thank you.
Now for the last of the Queen City guests. So we have another one that was invited by another club. So we're gonna also ask you to speak here. Now, bro, bye. Like Girl Scout. Oh, not that Jake.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Isabella Corpus for handing me this opportunity in attending this session. First, I wasn't expecting that all speeches here prepared or just an evaluation were somewhat poetic. All of the prepared speeches had guts, and even the evaluators had this poetry in their evaluations that we didn't even expect that to be not prepared. All of them flowed dramatically and artistically. So it was great. It was a great night attending with you guys, and it was an honor listening to you all. Thank you so much.
Wow, a very solid answer from like those guys. Expected of a product of scouting. Now from the guest from BSA. Yes, please come here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Well, aside from the snacks, it was actually my first meal for today, but snack that I expected also for the learning. I came here for the learning, but something that I did not expect is that the speaker also go beyond just about sharing. I know they're gonna share about something very informative, something substantial, but I did not expect that the speaker would also share something personal. As in, they try to give out their personal experiences, and for me, it takes a lot of courage to share those things to people that you don't know. And for that, thank you so much.
Right, thank you for that answer, Miss Cindy. Now we have reached the conclusion of the night, or should I say the NOMA? What else? There are new learnings for each and every night with Toastmasters International. So once again, my name is Fran Woodrow Perpetua, your Toastmaster of the evening, and I leave you with this message. Please continue to serve. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Van. I'm gonna take a little bit of our time for our announcements. So first of all, we're gonna have a picture taking after the adjournment. Got out of the way. Check. Second is our next coming meetings. Our first special meeting of the year is going to be next Saturday online. It's gonna be our first speakathon. And we're gonna have another 6 speakers, just like tonight. So please be available, or we know the evaluators are already available. Please feel free to watch. We'll send the Zoom link. It's only gonna be online. So please join us for our speakathon. Our next regular meeting is going to be the week after, on September 9th. And we're still on the fence if we're gonna meet here, if we're gonna find somewhere else. So just keep posted about that. Anyway, for next week's meeting, we're gonna be online, so we're all good with that. Third point is that we've deliberated with the Exacom about our number in our membership, and we've come to the conclusion, but this can change upon another meeting. For our current term until March, we have a membership cap of another 2 heads for our active members. This is because in Toastmasters, we greatly value guidance. And we want to make sure that everyone who comes into our halls here in Queen City Toastmasters Club is guided and will really be able to grow, especially in the first 6 months. So just to make sure that our mentors aren't at capacity or over capacity, we only have 2 additional slots for the next 6 months. We're going to revisit this in March, or if another past mentor, past president returns to our club, who can serve as an additional mentor. So as for right now, the situation is we only have 2 additional heads until March. All right. Ang tone of the club is disbanding. Actually, okay. No, because when I was a guest, I was always excited. I was a guest thrice before I finally decided to join Queen City Toastmasters Club. But every meeting I was really excited to join. And I can imagine the same is true for everyone or any guest, which we've received that kind of feedback, especially these past 4 meetings. We're still only on the 4th meeting of the year. And just to set expectations right, that, we want everyone to be able to learn in Toastmasters together, but we want you to also be, we want to put our best foot forward also for you as a guest, as a Toastmaster, when you start off. You need to start off right. But anyway, yes. 4th point, our club contest is actually gonna be very early this year, because our area contest is also gonna be very early this year. Our area contest is scheduled for November 11, the year of our Lord 2023.
23. So that's only in 3 months. It's a topic for a different meeting. It's a topic for the after meeting. Long story short, it was decided without our consent that it will be held early this year. We cannot say no, but long story short, it's going to be held at November 11 for C1 and C5. So our club contest will be held in October. So there will be two meetings, two regular meetings in October for our speech contest. And we'll also have one speakathon in October. So we're gonna have 3 evalathon. We're gonna have an evalathon in in October. Yes.
We have plans of having an education session probably for international.
Yes, please, from Toastmaster Van. Yes, we will organize that with you.
President,
Yes, sir.
maybe we can confirm first so that our guests who may want to go
Okay,
and reconvene.
sige. Actually, that was that was it.
There might be.
Sige. For everyone, even for our guests, for our Toastmasters guests, I love competing. I haven't competed again since I became president, but competing is really the thing that made me stay in Toastmasters. It really fills my heart with joy, just like table topics. If you love that feeling of adrenaline, just like it's an icebreaker every time you come to speak, please compete in our next club contest, area contest, or whatever contest that you will qualify for. I love competing. Yes, she promised. She promised us. See, do we have anything else? PR, education, membership. Okay. We'd like to thank our VP membership as well and a membership committee for our food. And once again, if you're not part of a committee yet, please tell us and then we will bring you to one of our executive committees in education, membership, or public relations. By the power vested in me as the president of Queen City Toastmasters Club by Toastmasters International, and and by you, our members in Queen City Toastmasters Club, I declare this meeting adjourned. Remember, please come here in front, and then we can turn off the spotlight. Please turn off the. Azai, can you please put that? Okay, thank you. Please come here. Please. Come to the front.
To all our
Yes, Wesley. To Brother Don and to Sir John. Press John. Brother Don, medyo kay ka smile.
Of course, daugo na sa smile, Miko.
Sir Don, we miss you on site. Please.
See you soon.
See you, sir. See you soon, sir. Sir Don, gimingaw si Miss Chappy ni mo.
Antuon ako sa silang balay karon.
Naman siya dirty.
All right, could everybody online give us your best smile? Capturing in 3, 2. Okay, one more. Capturing in 3, 2. Perfect.
Nasa sila ba ko bang kuwi ba? 1, 2, 3, smile. Walking.
Jump shot. Thank you everyone for the time. Thank you to our guests from BSA. And please feel free to join us in our fellowship after the meeting. Guys, it's not 11. Congratulations. 9 o'clock. Sige, di ba makumata mga 10:30. And then, abot na ta sa after meeting. Okay, 11. Thank you for visiting. Allah, it's time to keep for the after meeting meeting. Bisa yung ang contest.
Kuan ba?
Because